Hey you guys, welcome back to Rolling with BJ in the kitchen. Tonight I am doing a rum cake, and if you want to get tipsy, you want to make this cake. You don't want to give it to kids. If you do give it to kids, you're going to have to alter these ingredients, okay? All right, let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to take this stick of butter, drop it in the blender, the mixer, and then I'm just going to do a half stick of butter. We're going to drop those off in there, and then we're going to add 2 cups of sugar. I already have 2 cups measured out. We're just going to put that in there with the butter. And we're going to go on and mix it up until it's mixed thoroughly together, and then I'll be back, okay? I'm using my Princess House mixing stand. Okay, I'm going to start adding other ingredients. So I'm going to add a teaspoon of rum flavor, and then I'm going to add a teaspoon and a half of butter flavor, Now, all my ingredients is room temperature. Your eggs, your butter, everything needs to be room temperature, okay? We're going to go on and start mixing this. When I come back, I'm going to add some vanilla extract. Let me go on and add that now. So I'm going to add 1.5 tablespoons of vanilla flavor. And we're going to go on and start mixing this up. And then eventually, so I won't have to keep stopping and starting, I'm going to add the vegetable oil shortly. Okay, so we're just going to go on and mix these flavors up. Okay, now we're going to just start. I have 4 eggs, and we're going to just add one at a time. After we add the eggs, we're going to add the dry ingredients. We're going to add our flour and our vanilla pudding mix. Okay, so I have the vanilla pudding mix here in a bowl. I'm sorry, the flour, and I have the vanilla pudding mix. I'm just going to mix that in there. Make sure you sift your flour first. Okay, so now I'm just going to use the whisk to mix that in. I'm just going to add a pinch of salt because I use salted butter. Okay, just a pinch of salt. If you use unsalted butter, then use about a half a teaspoon of salt. But because I like to use salted butter, so I just put that in there. Okay, I'm gonna put a teaspoon and a half of baking powder. And then once I whisk this in, we're gonna go in and start adding our flour to the bowl. Now I already whisked this. I already sifted. Now I'm whisking it to mix everything together. And then I'm just going to gradually add flour into there. So I'm going to do that off camera. Let me show you just a little of what I'm talking about. Just going to add flour in there. But I want to cut this up, so I'm going to go on and do it off camera so you guys won't hear the sound of the mixer, okay? Okay, now that you have everything mixed up, all the flour, everything is in there. So now the last thing we're going to add is the rum. So I'm using light rum, and we're going to put 3/4 cups of rum in here. We're going to mix that thoroughly, and then I'm going to preheat my oven to 325, and then we're going to spray the baking pan with Pam. So I have a bump pan. We're going to spray it with Pam, and then we're going to get this cake going in the oven. Okay, now I have my pan ready. Now this part is optional. If you like nuts and you want to put nuts in yours, okay, so I have pecans. You can use pecans or walnuts. I'm going to use pecans. That's the proper name, pecans. So I got my pecans. I got some cinnamon sugar. So I'm going to use about, this won't fit in there, so I'm going to use about 2 tablespoons of cinnamon sugar. Just a little. Well, nope, that's too much. And then I'm going to use, that was a teaspoon, I'm sorry, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon sugar, 2 teaspoons of vanilla flavor, and then we're going to add a little rum. So this is a 1/3 cup, but I'm not going to put 1/3 cup off in here. So I just, well, look like I may have to. So we're going to say 1/3 cup of rum. And then we're going to mix that. And then you're going to put this all in the bottom of your baking pan before you put the cake in. So I just want to give this a taste right quick. Okay, so I want some more cinnamon sugar. So at this point you can just, so I use 4 tablespoons. You can do just like I did, put it to your taste. Okay, so now we're just going to sprinkle this. So this is going to be a nice little glazed topping. And like I said, if you don't care for nuts, you don't have to put this in yours, okay? You can just do it plain. You can even kind of drizzle it all over, up across the sides. I cannot wait to get into this cake. Okay, we're gonna go get the cake. Okay, all ready to go in the oven. I'll be back in about 55 to 65 minutes. Okay, so now we're gonna do our icing for the rum cake. We're gonna take 1 stick of butter. And again, this is salted butter, but because I forgot to take the unsalted butter out. So I'm going to use this salted butter. And I'm going to use 1 cup of sugar to start. And I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of vanilla. And I'm just going to heat this. I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of water. And I'm going to heat this on the stove. Once it gets loose, I'll be back and show you what it looked like. Okay, so I added my 2nd cup of sugar after the butter melted. So this is 1 stick of butter, 2 cups of sugar, 2 teaspoons of vanilla flavor, and a 1/2 cup of water. I'm going to bring this to a boil, and after it come to a boil, I'm going to cut it off, and then I'm going to add the rum. I'm going to add 3/4 cup of rum, and then I'm going to let it sit. Now, if you don't want yours to be as strong as mine, add the rum now, and then it'll cook some of the alcohol out of it. Okay, so it's coming to a boil. So I'm just going to go on and cut this off and go and get the rum. Okay, so now I am putting a 1/2 cup of rum in there, you guys. So now I'm just going to let this sit until the cake is done. Okay, you guys, that is the cake fresh out the oven. And I just have a chopstick, and I'm just going to poke holes all through my cake. I'm going to let it sit for about 10 minutes. And then I'm going to pour that icing glaze all over this cake. I'm poking these holes so the icing can drip down off in there. This is going to be lovely, you guys. Okay, I'll be back in about 10 minutes. Okay, so cake is out the oven. Everything is cooled off. So now we getting ready to ice. Well, not ice it, but we getting ready to drizzle this this rum syrup on top of it. Okay, and these holes that I was telling you about. Okay, so we're just gonna go in every hole. And I'm just gonna do this all over the whole cake. And then I'm gonna let it sit for about an hour like this. and then I'm gonna flip it. I'm gonna leave it like this to make sure everything drained down off in there. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. I'm just filling these holes and just going all over the cake, you guys. So once I finish this, I'm gonna let it sit for an hour and then we're gonna flip it over. Okay, you guys, it's been a couple of hours, so now we're gonna go on and flip this cake. Okay, so that's what we have. So now we can slice this baby. Okay, you guys, I got my piece cut. Oh man. Mm. I don't even know what to tell you guys. Woo. This cake right here. This cake right here. Yeah. Y'all better go on and do that. Go on and do that. Thank you for watching. And I will see you back here in the kitchen rolling with BJ on the next video. Until then, be good, be safe. I'll see you next week.